The cost of accommodation on UCD campus has risen by 76% in the last 10 years, even though there's only been like minor improvements done to the cost of college accommodation. So we've seen huge inflation of it. In the last number of months, it was announced that the university would be raising the campus rents by 12%. It was an unnecessary rent increase, and that's going to push a lot of students into precarious living conditions. Essentially, we were just looking at really dysfunctional services on campus. So, for example, disability services on campus, a lot of students have to advocate for themselves. They find it quite difficult to get timely support. Then with mental health services, it's recommended that people are seen within 7 days. It can take up to a month in UCD to basically get a notification that you've put in an application for counselling services. So the staff there, again, completely overburdened, doing their very best. In response, basically, a number of us across different political societies in September, from the Labour Party, the Greens, the Social Democrats, and People Before Profit, which is a socialist group, came up with alternate policy based on evidence-based policy, essentially asking that the university provide these basic services to help students get through education and to reduce the cost of studying at UCD. We brought all the issues to the Students' Union. They were incredibly supportive from the start, and we've been working very closely in conjunction with them. So we felt that the diplomatic approach had been completely exhausted. The Students' Union had done their bit to advocate for these services, and the university hadn't listened. Since the rent increase was announced, we've held a number of protests. So then most recently, we stormed the University Club. So the University Club is a building that was, it cost about 12 million to build. And essentially it's a club where alumni, staff, and then executive kind of guests to the university. It's basically like a social club for them. There's a restaurant inside, etc. The university has starved the budget for support services. When it comes to funding mental health services on campus, they don't have the money for it. When it comes to funding basic student supports for people with disabilities, paying tutors a living wage, they can't find the money, and somehow managed to find €12 million to fund this incredibly fancy building. So there was a bit of resistance from staff there as well. So we thought it was a very key building in terms of symbolising how the university has commodified and commercialised higher education. We have been meeting with a lot of politicians across different parties and independents as well. And what we're lobbying for now essentially is for the Irish Higher Education Authority to intervene in what's happening in UCD and to ring fence funding for student support services. Because the rent increases are happening across university campuses nationwide. Essentially, the issues that we're facing in UCD are the exact same across the country. We're seeing these rent increases happening. They're the maximum amount of rents increases that's allowed in this country because we're in a rent pressure zone in Dublin. So we are hoping to coordinate strike actions to put pressure on the next government and the Higher Education Authority to intervene. There's challenges with coronavirus. So any actions we had planned over the next number of weeks have had to take a back seat because we have to put the safety of activists first and public safety first.